The sharp snap of metal breaking hit my ears like a gunshot. I was in my workshop, sanding down a cedar plank, when that sound stopped me cold. Stepping outside, I squinted down the hill and saw her Eleanor Voss, the HOA president, standing by my busted farm gate with her arms crossed, looking like she'd just done the world a favor. Her perfume wafted up even from that distance, heavy and floral, like she'd bathed in it. Sunglasses perched on her nose, she was inspecting the lock she'd just hacked apart with bolt cutters, the steel glinting in the afternoon sun. 3 years ago, I'd built that gate myself solid, padlocked, not the kind of thing you accidentally break. But Eleanor? She'd been on a crusade since she bullied her way into the HOA presidency last summer. My little farm, with its 3 donkeys Daisy, Scout, and Rusty didn't fit her polished VY shown for the neighborhood. I crunched down the gravel path, boots kicking up dust, and called out, "Eleanor, what the hell are you doing?" She spun around, startled like a fox caught in a henhouse. "Your gate's against code, Tom," she said, voice dripping with superiority. "You can't keep livestock in a residential area. It's an eyesore." I stopped a few feet away, my hand itching for the phone in my back pocket. First, my land's zoned mixed use since the 80s, so I'm grandfathered in. Second, there's no HOA rule against gates. And third, I pointed at the mangled lock hanging from the hinge. "You just committed a felony." She didn't even blink. "I'm enforcing community standards, Tom. Those donkeys, 3 of them, bray and stink. That gate was ugly, and now it's open. Maybe they'll wander off, and you'll get the hint." My blood boiled. "You're saying you want my animals gone?" I asked, voice low. She raised a perfectly drawn eyebrow. "If they wander into the woods, that's nature fixing your mistake." I didn't say another word. I slid my phone out, hit record, and held it up. The red icon blinked. Eleanor froze, her eyes darting to the camera. "Thanks for that, Eleanor," I said, smirking. She gasped. "You can't film me without permission." "Oh, I absolutely can." I shot back, turning toward the donkey pen. Daisy, Scout, and Rusty perked up, sensing trouble. I unlatched their gate, stepped aside, and gave a low whistle. "Go on, boys and girl. Stretch your legs." They didn't hesitate, trotting out, hooves clicking on the gravel, straight past Eleanor's shiny golf cart and her Lexus parked 2 feet from my property line. "What are you doing?" she shrieked, her composure cracking. "You can't let them loose." I raised my voice for the camera. Didn't someone just break my gate and say they hoped my donkeys would wander off? Her face went white, then red. "They'll ruin the community garden." I almost laughed. "That garden's on your property, Eleanor. Better hustle before Rusty chews your roses." She spun, power walking to her car, yelling into her phone about animal control and emergencies. I followed the donkeys at a leisurely pace, camera rolling, capturing every second of her panic. Old Mr. Callahan across the street leaned over his porch railing, iced tea in hand. "That the HOA lady again?" he called. "Yup," I replied. "Trying to scare my donkeys now." He raised his can of mock toast and shuffled inside. By the time animal control pulled up, lights flashing but sirens off, Eleanor was flailing her arms out her car window, yelling words I'm sure she didn't learn in church. 2 officers stepped out, a young guy with a clipboard and a woman in her 40s who looked like she'd seen worse than loose donkeys. "Afternoon," I said. "They're mine, tagged and vaccinated. Someone cut my gate open." I held up my phone. "Got on VY Deo." The older officer gave Eleanor a hard stare. "That true, ma'am?" I rewound to Eleanor's confession about wanting the donkeys gone and let it play. Behind us, Rusty nudged her car's bumper, probably sniffing for treats. She yelped and slammed her door. The officer handed my phone back. "That's enough. We'll file a report. You pressing charges for property damage." "Damn right," I said. Eleanor, adjusting her oversized sunglasses like they'd save her, snapped. "This is outrageous. He's been violating our aesthetic code for years." The younger officer cut in. "We're not here for aesthetics, ma'am. You destroyed private property. Someone could have gotten hurt. You can't arrest me. I'm the HOA president," she barked. The older officer sighed. "That doesn't give you the right to break locks or release animals. You're lucky they didn't run into traffic." I raised an eyebrow. "Want to see my zoning papers?" "Mixed agricultural." Your HOA can't touch that. Eleanor opened her mouth, then shut it, muttering about her lawyer. Please do, I said. I'd love to show them the footage. Animal control helped me herd the donkeys back while the officers took statements. Rusty paused to nibble a lawn gnome before trotting home. The older officer walked over as I locked the gate with a new bolt. Mind sending us that VY Deo? It's more than trespassing, reckless endangerment, malicious destruction, maybe a felony. I nodded. It's backed up online. I'll email it. She gave a tight smile. You're doing the right thing. The DA's going to have fun with this. That evening, I posted the VY Deo on the neighborhood forum. No caption, just raw footage with timestamps. Within an hour, the comments blew up. Lisa, who ran the bakery, wrote, saw why my kid came home crying about Eleanor threatening Daisy. Raj, the middle school CIVYCS teacher, added, this is a clear abuse of power. I'm in for a special meeting. Even quiet Dora, fined last year for a wind chimed in. She cut a lock on camera. Recall her now. I didn't reply. Just sipped my beer and let the neighbors' anger simmer. The next morning, Deputy Larson called. We've sent the case to the DA. There's enough to move forward. Then he dropped a bomb. We check her record. She's got a sealed case from 2 counties over similar HOA mess. We're talking to the sheriff there. I paused. A pattern. Wouldn't be the first time someone used an HOA to bully people, he said. I hung up, staring at my pasture. Daisy was sunbathing, Rusty was chewing what looked like a plastic flamingo, and Scout stood like a statue. Eleanor wasn't just power-hungrish, was dangerous. I dug into the HOA bylaws, finding a gem. Any board member under criminal investigation had to step down. I drafted an email to the board, attaching the VY Deo, police report, and my zoning certificate. Per Section 5, Subclause D, Eleanor Voss must resign, pending her felony investigation, I wrote. That night a knock came. It was Sarah, the HOA treasurer, looking like she hadn't slept in weeks. I didn't agree with her, she said. No greeting. She threatened to fine me. If I spoke up, said she'd find something on my property. I let her in. She's been funneling money to Green Horizon Designs, her cousin's company. I got the invoices. I stared. She's stealing from the HOA? Sarah nodded, clutching a thumb drive. She paid for a retaining wall that doesn't exist. I checked. She called it a beautification emergency and forged approvals. My jaw tightened. She's blackmailing you too? Sarah's voice shook. She threatened to report me for tax fraud if I didn't stay quiet. I'm a single mommy, can't afford that fight. I pulled out my binder of county records and HOA minutes. We're calling the state auditor and the DA. I've got a friend there who owes me. The next day, Sarah and I drove to the county building, the thumb drive between us. Assistant DA Coleman didn't flinch as we laid out the EVY Denke. Forged invoices, shell companies, blackmail. I've seen HOAs abuse power, she said, but this is deliberate fraud. She opened an investigation, subpoenaed Green Horizon's bank records, and tagged Eleanor for felony embezzlement and wire fraud. By dusk, the neighborhood buzzed. Neighbors I barely knew stopped by with pie or a handshake. Then Alan, the jittery HOA VYC president, showed up. I didn't know about the money, he stammered. She locked down the books. I cut him off. Resign, Alan. Keep your name clean. He nodded and left. 2 days later, county investigators rolled up to Eleanor's house with a search warrant. She screamed, smashed a flower pot, but they walked out with her laptop and files. The HOA website soon posted, all board active VY ties suspended pending legal re-VYEW. At the DA's press conference, they announced charges, misappropriation of funds, falsifying records, property destruction, coercion, and livestock interference. Then the feds got involved. Eleanor's emails revealed she'd laundered money through a Nevada shell company under her maiden name, bumping it to federal wire fraud and tax evasion. A week later, a town hall was called not by the HOA, but by Raj and Dora. I spoke, standing in a library meeting room, facing neighbors I'd known for years. This isn't about donkeys or gates, I said. It's about someone who thought power meant control. That's over. We can rebuild or dissolve the HOA, but we do it together. The room erupted in applause. That spring, we held our first open assembly under an oak tree. Neighbors brought chairs, lemonade, even a grill. Raj read a new charter: voluntary, respectful, mediation over fines. It passed unanimously. Rusty stole a muffin and pranced off, the little thief. The trial was brutal. Eleanor sat smug as the prosecutor listed her crimes: fraud, embezzlement, identity theft for forging my signature. My VY Deo played for the jury, and she squirmed. Guilty on all counts. 15 years, no parole, plus a 5-year ban from HOA rolls. Her cousin took a plea deal, ratting her out for another case. The neighborhood didn't cheer, just exhaled, like a storm had passed. Now my gate's stronger, but I leave it open most days. Trust has replaced suspicion. Daisy, Scout, and Rusty graze in peace, and no one's been fined for a gnome in months. Sometimes, all it takes is one person to say no more, and maybe a donkey or 3. So what do you think? Was I right to let the donkeys loose, knowing they'd cause chaos? Should Eleanor have been punished harsher, or was 15 years too much? Would you have fought back or let it slide? Drop a comment, hit like if you're Team Donkey, and subscribe for more stories where the little guy and a few stubborn animals come out on top.